have a friend or two that can't take responsibility for their own actions. They are terrible at Magic or whatever game you're playing with them, but that's not their fault, of course. It is but lady luck. If only they could draw better, then they would obviously win. The dice rolls go badly, they never get first turn, their top decks are bad, of course their opponent had it. You know all the excuses. People will point out that you drew one of your 4-orbs when you've played 30 turns of Magic and they're completely shocked and surprised Pikachu thinks to buy that. Only last night was I playing Cube against someone and I was losing game 2 of our match, and I pointed out that, like, you know, I've drawn my mana badly. If only I could draw Badlands. My opponent, which is Tom on the Discord, fuck you Tom, absolutely correctly pointed out that I'd drawn my Badlands across both games. Actually, game 3, I drew it across all 3 games. They were correct, I was just being salty. The reality of the matter was that I'd opened multiple bits of power, I had gotten lucky, but instead of focusing on the luck that I'd had and the fact that my deck was good except for the mana base, I was ignoring the bit that I had control over, which was the mana base. I had drafted a bad mana base, I constructed a bad mana base, and it lost me the second game of a 3-game set. But instead of being like, you know what, that's on me, brother, that's my fault, I instead blamed someone else, or something else in the aether, the luck of drawing a bad hand. But it was bullshit. It was just bullshit coming out of my mouth during a salty moment. And you know what? A little bit of that is kind of healthy. It helps you to deal with it in the moment when you are getting tilted or feeling frustrated or feeling just upset or whatever the vibe you're getting from a game not going your way. Sometimes you need a little bit of that. But the problem is a lot of bad players, I mean bad players, they can't cope with the idea of looking inward and self-reflecting. I feel about this on the channel a lot when it comes to Commander. You're blaming other people for playing bullshit cards or playing bullshit decks instead of asking, actually, is my deck just shit or am I playing badly? And the point in this video isn't to make you feel bad about being bad at Magic or playing badly. We all do it. I'm not exactly the fucking best player in the world. Sometimes you gotta own it. Sometimes you gotta be like, I'm shit at this and I can improve if I just take a moment to try and understand what the fuck I'm doing wrong. But sometimes it is hard to figure out what you're doing wrong. More on that in a moment. But Lady Luck isn't the only cope that I've seen in my comment section across the internet recently. In response to my video on Monday about the NRG series cheating controversy and someone getting caught and DQ'd, I got some of those familiar messages. So let's take a look. Oh look, it's the comment section. Friendly reminder. All Magic Pro players are cheaters. Please note, they capitalized all. Anyone who tells you otherwise is hiding a card in their lap. To steal a good joke from someone yesterday, is that a Boris charm in your pocket or are you just pleased to see me? They are buying into this fallacy that all Magic the Gathering Pro players are cheaters. You can't possibly be good at Magic if you're not cheating, am I right? And that's why you, dear viewer, and this commenter and myself, the reason we're not pro is because we're not cheating. It's not that we're bad at the game. It's not that we haven't exercised or practiced our game, we haven't improved over time or learnt the craft. If we did all of those things, we still wouldn't get there, because more realistically, we can't take that further step into cheating, right? No, you fuckhead. Wrong. This shit is just pure fucking copium to the nth degree. Really shit players who will never ever aspire to be good at a competitive game, but they don't want to admit the fact that they haven't got the time, energy, resources, or skill or talent to do that. They want to say there's a barrier that they can't get past. That barrier could be, in the circumstance of some players, luck. It's the luck of the draw. I'm just such an unlucky player. Or B, the new age copium, is that everyone else is cheating, but I'm not, and that's why I can't win. It's not that your mulligans are bad. It's not that your mana base is bad. It's not that your strategy is bad. Your sequencing is bad. It's not that any of those things in your game can be bad. It's these other things that you just can't control, and thus you'd have to put the effort in, and your actions now no longer have any fucking consequences. Grissu asks, will you admit that the Reddit guy was right now? The Reddit guy they're referring to was a throwaway account I did a video on a couple months back talking about this sort of cheating manifesto, saying that all good players cheat, which is of course is the opposite of what I believe. There are cheaters. There's perhaps even an epidemic of a growth in cheating in Magic because there's no ramifications, there's no problems or what's the word I'm looking for? Consequences. There's no consequences to your actions anymore, mainly because Wizards of the Coast don't support the Judge program. But no, I don't believe this cheater's unhinged rant is true now. I'm not going to say it's correct simply because there's more people getting away with it because we don't have a robust system for punishing those people and keeping them out of the game. You want to believe that to either A, justify your own cheating. If everyone else is cheating, I might as well do so too. Or B, that's why you're losing. Not because you don't know what the fuck you're doing or that you haven't put the effort in, but because there's this cosmic thing against you, the morality of man, or the luck lady goddess. People continue to refuse that most pro players are cheating, says this fucking dog. Look, I love dogs, but this dog's talking shit. I do think there are pro players that cheat. We have them get found out and they get sloppy. It's absolutely a thing that's happened. But saying most or all, I still think is this copium element of making out that other people who have put the time, energy, and effort in, they're only getting there through an unfair advantage. I couldn't possibly get there because I won't step past that line. The real proof of the pudding is the players who do well in physical and in paper. Look at your Reed Dukes, your LSVs, your Andrea Mengucci's. They do well in digital events and in physical too, which is testament to the fact that they aren't necessarily cheating their way to the top. And now, a tangent. It's not really a tangent. I'll explain. Hello, dear viewer. This is Vince from the future here. I'm actually recording this several days after I first recorded the video because I missed out an entire page of the stuff that I'd written. And then when I came to edit it, I just got annoyed and I decided to close it and come back to it later. And here I am! I want to talk about conspiracy theories, because that's what I believe the everybody's a cheater thing is. One aspect of the conspiratorial mindset where you look to examine all authority or the majority of authority or authoritative narratives like the world being round or the moon landing being real or vaccines. Part of it is looking to try and empower yourself against a world that is very difficult to understand. Instead of coming to grips with the heavy burden of the systemic issues in society or trying to understand how corporations can charge you money to give you the medicine that you need to be well, things that can be very difficult to process, you instead look for easier ways to understand these things, the conspiracy theories that have bred themselves significantly online. And every pro is a cheat is one of those for Magic. Hear me out, it's kind of like a theory. So understanding where you can improve at a game or any action really that you need coaching, training, or just general repetitions on can be very difficult. And Magic itself is an incredibly complicated and difficult game when you really get down to it. From deck construction and mana curves to number of lands to mulligans to early turn plays to sequencing, this factors into like everything from Commander to 60-card formats. It is very difficult to really understand Magic holistically to an extent where you know where you can improve or where you went wrong. So instead, you look for simple ways to explain why you lost. It's not a lack of skill or understanding, or hell, you may even be clamoring for that understanding. You may be grasping at that understanding, but you just don't have the tools available to find it. So you look for the next best thing, an easy narrative to explain away the problem. Everybody else is cheating. The reason you can't get to that level where you win your local event and get into the RCQs, RCs, and later the Pro Tour, everybody's cheating. There is a sister narrative to this, a cousin, if you will, to this conspiratorial thought, which is shuffle truthers. The idea that the shuffler on Magic the Gathering Online or on Arena is against you, that it's designed to make your draws bad, to make your opening hands bad, to never draw you that fourth land. And again, this is similar to the conspiracy theories that I sort of alluded to earlier without getting too into the weeds of. One of them is speaking to authority, to be untrusting of the mother company that owns Magic. Surely they're doing something to the shuffler to make your games worse so you spend more money. But that stuff never ever stands up to scrutiny for some bizarre reason. And it also allows you to explain away why you lost a game of that draft, of that cube, of that league, that weekend challenge. It wasn't because you didn't understand the matchup. It wasn't because you made a bad choice. It wasn't that you made a bad deck choice, construction, gameplay. It's because the shuffler screwed you over. And again, you see, we have the same conspiratorial thought that is a simplified, watered down version of reality. Like, you did get screwed on the shuffle. You did get screwed on what you drew, but there was agency and things you could have done earlier to affect that. From deck construction to mulligans to sequencing to cards drawn to whatever. When I say cards drawn, I mean like points where you could have looted a card or flashed something back or searched in a certain way. There's so many decision tree moments in Magic that you can look back on to try and understand a game. A lot of players struggle to do that. It's overwhelming. So they resort back to the conspiratorial thought that the other player is cheating, that they got unlucky, that the shuffler is against them. It's rigged. And like I said earlier, conspiracy theories can be kind of fun, right? On a surface level, they're silly things, and the same way that conspiratorial thoughts about Magic are things you can use to offset some of the tension you're feeling when you're frustrated with the game. Absolutely. Even joke about it with your friends. But when you internalize it, when you go searching out content online, for example, YouTubers that reiterate this shit back to you, where they're telling you these thoughts are true and valid, they're real, because you want to be justified in how you feel. That is a slippery slippery slope. In the conspiratorial side of things, it's normally towards some sort of racist bullshit. In the case of Magic, it's towards being a shit player who will never improve. That's the end of the tangent, although it ties into the main video. Back to past me. It's almost like that guy from the previous video reacting to unhinged cheaters was 100% correct, and you were coping hard on the MTG community actually having any competitive honesty, lol. The point is that I don't believe there's not cheaters. Like I said, I think actually over time I'm starting to believe there are more than there once was because of the lack of ramification. But I also believe there are a lot of players out there that do play a fair game based upon their own moral standards, based upon the idea that they do want to challenge themselves to get better within a fair playing field. I talked about that in that video, that I want to play against players who are better than me, that have trained, that have exercised, that have tested and become better at the game to better myself. That's part of the whole fun of competing within any sort of tabletop or gaming scenario, is challenging yourself to become better and overcome those that were at one point better than you. I think a lot of people share that view. Like, it's hard to quantify or prove that. I do understand this is like a philosophical debate about the morality of playing on a fair field, what you want out of competitive gaming and cheating, but I do believe the majority, 60% or up, do feel in a similar way. Do I think that a larger portion is cheating now in Magic than it ever once was? Perhaps. Not that the players that didn't cheat before began cheating, but more so that the people that would cheat can get away with it more, like I said, because there's no strict database or list of people who've been caught cheating and DQ'd because of it. Whilst we're reading comments, how about this one? I subscribe because you called me a dickhead at the end. That's what I like to see. Comment down below what you want me to call you in the next video to make you subscribe. You fuckhead. Is it also considered cheating if you take MTG Goldfish's video from yesterday and slightly change the thumbnail and call it your own? Oh no, did two people who do commentary and news content within a niche cover the same thing? Won't somebody think of the children? I was aware that Seth had already done the video. Like, I saw it go up. Me and Seth also talked. We hadn't talked about this, but I saw it go up. I even said to my wife, fuck, Seth beat me to it. I'm gutted. But I'm not going to cover it if I think it's interesting, if I have a perspective or opinion to put onto it. I recently had a podcast that I've never fucking listened to reach out to me and tell me that they thought I was stealing their content because, and I quote, we covered the same news story on 2 separate occasions. I had to really respectfully and calmly tell them I have no fucking idea who they are and hadn't watched their fucking or listened to their podcast. And whilst I love Seth and I'm aware of him, and I had actually seen part of that video that I watched during my lunch break, I actually turned it off halfway through because I didn't want to have my own viewpoint poisoned or not poisoned, not the right word, swayed by what he was saying. That's an interesting point, right? Like, I don't want to even subconsciously accidentally say the same shit that someone else is saying, and thus I stopped. I made my own video and I have seen the whole one now. I even mentioned in the video that Seth had done one. God, it is fucking, are people this fucking stupid? Like, this is me responding to comments where people are being really fucking dumb. Do you get upset when 2 news channels cover the same news story? Like, I hope this person's on IMDb getting upset about, like, Finding Nemo and Shark's Tale coming out in the same year. And that's far more egregiously obvious an effort to, like, chase a trend than both. Well, this is chasing a trend if we're completely honest about it. Content creators will cover the things that I think people want to see. So me and Seth were both like, well, we're going to cover the cheating thing because people want to see it. It's a good way to get views and get our channel to grow. So Smokey the Bandit 5608, if that's even your original name, did you steal that name? Did you cheat that name from a different Smokey the Bandit? Nice original thumbnail / profile picture, you fuckhead. I've called like 3 people fuckheads in this video. Let's finish out with this is Potato9957. Look, your names fucking suck, all right? I'm not saying my username is great and I'm stuck with it now from brand recognition element, but for fuck's sake, if your name has 5 different numbers after it, just do something else. Always struck me as odd that a lot of the same people made it into Paper Magic top 8s, but in MTG Arena, this much more randomized as it is to who is successful. I don't think that's even remotely fucking true. When you look at the top 8s of, I don't really look at Arena top 8s, but when you look at the top 8s of like Legacy and Modern challenges for Magic the Gathering Online, you see a similar pool of people. A, because the player base on Modo is significantly smaller than Arena, so you have a smaller sample size to take from, but you see the same names popping up because they're good at those formats. And they're the people who, as part of their weekly regimen, spend the time playing in challenges on a weekend, on a Saturday, for example. So I don't think that's even remotely true. I probably should find the data to prove them wrong, but I'm just anecdotally, I'm pretty sure they're wrong. Someone can do the fucking math and post it on Twitter and tag me. I think there is way more cheating in Paper Magic than people want to admit. Most of it just stops when the camera is on. This point is fair. I do think there's more cheating in Paper Magic, especially now where we don't catch people and give them a fucking ban. That doesn't happen anymore. So I do think it's more prominent now. And I do think the majority of cheaters, I say the majority, there's a good portion of cheaters that will stop doing it when the cameras are on. It's only the fucking idiots or the truly compulsive that do it with the cameras on. See yesterday's video. There's a reason why at casinos you don't bring your own deck of cards or dice to play with. Yeah. There certainly is a reason you don't bring your own dice or cards to a casino to play in. There's actually a fucking million reasons. Where do you want me to begin? Firstly, there's a secondary market based upon trading card games, and that's why the game exists, is to make you buy both sealed product and single cards. So no, they wouldn't do that for casinos. Casinos don't function on that. They actually want to rinse all your money from a house always wins perspective. Secondly, you don't play card games where there's 20,000 different play pieces that want to be available in multiple copies for play sets at a casino. You tend to play games that use the traditional 52 card playing deck that you may or may not be aware of if you stop posting on the internet and, I don't know, go outside for a little bit, touch some grass, go to a casino perhaps. This is not financial advice, and I'm not your dad. Also, heaven forbid, you might be taking part in what's called a trading card game or a collectible card game, and thus the cards are tradable and collectible. That is not one of the draws of the casino. The aim of the casino is to lose all your money and chase that gambling high of maybe, just maybe, if you can borrow some money, you might get back into it. Furthermore, the old idea of bringing your own deck of cards or dice to a casino to allow them to be weighted or whatever is not actually so much of an issue in Magic the Gathering. There are issues with weighted dice in, say, Warhammer, for example. I covered one of those on the Warhammer channel a little while back. But the cheats in Magic tend to be around where people are hiding cards on their lap or how they shuffle in plain view. It's not about the actual factual cards themselves and having them weighted or changed. I guess there's an argument that using counterfeits is a form of cheating, which it is literally by the rules, but there's a philosophical conversation to be had about that too. I guess I should qualify that. I do believe we should be using real cards at tournaments, not because I like the idea of pricing people out through expensive staples out of the older formats like Modern and Legacy, but instead that the entire secondary market hinges on the idea that cards have some sort of use case value. So yeah, I do like proxying, but I also completely and utterly understand why Wizards of the Coast and large tournament organizers do not want you to be using proxies in their main events. It makes sense from keeping the market alive, which all of these toy companies and card game sales companies are all based in. So you're right, Mr. Potato 9957. You don't bring your own cards or dice to a casino because the situation isn't even fucking comparable. These comments here are somewhat cherry-picked from yesterday's video because the majority of people just posted similar fun things of jokes and comments about how cheaters should go fuck themselves. But these are similar comments to what I get on every video based around the topic of cheating. The pure fucking copium that all the pro players are cheating, and that's why you and I or the person leaving the comment aren't pro, because we're not a cheater. It is a complete rejection of the idea of agency, of self-reflection, of personal improvement. It is just like blaming luck and not looking at any of the things that you could change to be better at Magic, or any game for that matter. So the next time you see or hear somebody say to you, all the professional players are cheating, challenge it. Ask them why they feel that way. Try and examine whether they feel that way because they actually have proof of that, or are they saying that because they're a shit player who wants to have some way to cope with the fact that they're shit and they're never ever going to put the effort in to be better. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Don't forget to comment down below what you want me to call you in a video. Until next time, dickheads, I'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now.